everybody, and welcome into Blue Jays Today, folks, where today we're going to be talking about how the Toronto Blue Jays might frackin' win this goddamn World Series this year after winning the Golden Grapefruit, because this team is on a heater. On top of all of that, we've got some reports coming out about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the extension. Couple bad games, and it looks like Vladdy is thinking differently about how he wants to approach this thing. I'm speculating, but I am still hype about the situation regardless. We also have a very good friend of ours that's going to be joining us very soon. I can see him dicking around right now on his personal side. So you know what? I'll just leave it an extended intro. Let's get you first, Adam. Vibe check, Toronto Blue Jays. How we doing? 5-2, baby.
Vibe checks. They're absolutely immaculate right now. I was just telling you right before on Thursday, my mood is impacted by the Toronto Blue Jays heavily. And let me tell you, like, after they won and swept the series against the Nationals, and it was a very good game. There was a moment there, the game almost slipped away, but then Jeff Hoffman comes out and absolutely dominates. And, you know, he's the closer that we paid the money for. I'm feeling great. And I'm feeling great because, and they said this on the broadcast, I'm going to steal it right from Dan. This team looks more complete. It feels like we have the right pieces in the right places, offensively speaking. I mean, the rotation and the bullpen is still up for debate right now. I'm sure we'll talk about with that with Scott a lot. But honestly, like, up and down this lineup feels 100% complete. They announced the lineup for today. We'll take a look at it. But like, as of right now, if everyone's playing how they're supposed to be playing, it feels like there's no real holes right now.
Dude, here's the thing, okay? This is a hot baseball team, all right? You don't want to get in between a hot baseball team and the baseball, because they will frackin' annihilate that thing. Yes, there are concerns with the pitching staff and the injuries there. Yes, there are concerns with the bullpen and the depth of the bullpen. And no, we are not the same caliber as the 8-0 LA Dodgers right now, but 5-2 to start off the season. This is giving you just that little bit of breathing room when come June, you do go through that rough stretch.
Or come this coming week,
because there is actually some pretty steep competition. With that, though, everybody, we got 144 legends in the chat. Welcome in, folks. As you can tell, the energy is pretty hyped up. Let's bring in our buddy over there from the Walkoff Podcast, Scott. Welcome in, dude. I just got the vibe check from Adam. Let's get the vibe check from you. Toronto Blue Jays 5-2, dude.
Nick and Adam, thank you for having me on, and on a week where we as Jays fans get to celebrate our team. We did not see this coming. I know after that first game, opening day, when we were at Amsterdam Brewing together, it was such a hit to take, right? Like, it was just the excitement was palpable. Everyone was all hyped on the season. Baseball was finally back, and then to get dealt a 12-2 loss. But my goodness, what a rebound. And I like how you said, Nick, that your mood is affected by the Toronto Blue Jays, you know? I'm feeling good.
And listen,
it is every day.
Both Adam and I are just like the worst people to be around when this is like you have a really bad week, and then the complete opposite when it's a really good week. You know, it like sports. Actually, I don't have a personality. I am just sports. That's all I am. I am dictated by the results of this team.
Of sports and Pokemon.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's true. I mean, like, yeah, it's been an awesome week. And we're going to talk a lot about that in a little bit, but I do see people in the chat talking because our title of this podcast is called Major Vladdy Contract Update. So we got to get to that right off the bat right here, because or else we'd be clickbaiting people. So let's get to that contract update right here. It was coming out by Jon Heyman. Jon Heyman came out with a recent report that was talking about, hey, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the Toronto Blue Jays, they might be making a deal very, very soon. The quote right here is, the belief remains that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the Blue Jays will figure it out for close to $500 million. Yeah, and $500 million, if we all remember, was kind of the contract that the Blue Jays offered with including deferrals, right? So now I know a lot of people in the chat. I want to get a vibe check from the chat as well. When you hear after 1 week of not so good baseball from Vladimir Guerrero Jr., there's some ups, but there's a lot of downs. After 1 week, is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. coming back to earth and realizing, maybe I'm not him. Maybe I should take the $500 million. How much weight are we putting into this, guys? I want to get your reactions. Scott, I'll start with you right here. Thoughts on this? How much weight do you put on this right now?
I mean, I'm at the point now, boys, where I'll believe it when I see it. You know, this has been kind of the theme of the offseason is Vladdy's going to sign. They're after Vladdy. $580 million over 14 years. David Ortiz floats out. You know, there's been a lot said about this contract, but I will say this. I am hopeful that maybe they can get this done. I know we watched some extensions go down over the last couple games with Jackson Merrill, right?
Crazy
Christian
extension.
Campbell, like some of these youngsters. Ketel Marte. I mean, Marte giving the Diamondbacks the J-Ram deal, tough to swallow as a Blue Jays fan. But if we can lock up our own homegrown developed talent, even if it is for too much, which let me tell you, if it's $500 million, it will be too much. But we have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. long term, and it's gonna be a sweet 5 to 8 years before we're really feeling like maybe the George Springer of it all, right?
Right.
Hey, don't talk bad about George Springer.
Hey.
Yeah, right. There's a different George Springer these days. But listen, $500 million always felt to me like kind of the sweet middle ground spot, because maybe in a perfect world, in a absolutely fantasy land scenario for Vladimir Guerrero Jr., he comes out this season, he knocks in, he has 60 round trippers, 130 ribbies, everything is perfect. All right, you do that, kid. At age 27, being a free agent, you do get your $600 or $650 million or whatever the hell the number balloons up to. But that is a perfect and fantasy level situation. There's also a very other real possibility that he comes out and has a 2023 type of year. And then in that case, it is significantly less than $500 million. So for me, 500, when the Jays got up to that number, I did think it was a lot, and ultimately I would like it to be less, but it felt like the right number for me to be able to convince Guerrero that, you know what, it's good enough where you don't need to go to free agency. You still have generational wealth for forever, and we mitigate your risk in case it isn't that fantasy scenario where you hit 60 bombs and whatever.
Yeah.
You get injured, you play bad, whatnot. $500 million is still a very reasonable
100%. And if he wants 14 years, $500 million divided by 14 is $35 million per year. He's making $29 million per year. A $6 million raise to keep this guy in the prime of his career and then lock him down for a J for life. Forget about when he's old and declining like George Springer. That's a great deal. And anybody kind of upset about that, you got to rethink about this. We're not the Blue Jays from like way back in the 90s before inflation, before all this stuff, where $35 million is absurd. $35 million is not a large part of your overall payroll. We're the fifth highest payroll, over $250 million this year. $35 million? Dude, you could still build a competitive team. It's not going to hurt you in any capacity. Hell, I mean, there could be an argument too where if that's what you're going to get for Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 35 per year, depends on what Bo's going to get. Like, could you make an offer as well to him? Like,
I think that's a really good point, Adam, honestly, man. And it's one that's not getting talked about much. We did listen to Bo Bichette come out last year and say that his main goals for free agency is to stay with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And no one's really bringing this up much. And so if they do need to overpay for Vladdy, which is what they're going to need to do, and forget the overpay of it all right? You are locking in a top 10 Major League Baseball player. Not every team gets one of those. In fact, if you do the math, and I'm not a mathematician, 1/3 gets a top 10 player, right? So look at me knowing how many teams are in baseball. Anyways, what I'm saying is that the intangibles that no one's talking about is really what we should be focusing on if they are going to overpay and spend this kind of money on a first baseman, a generational self-developed team develops first baseman, is are deals like Christian Campbell with the Boston Red Sox, right? Is it more appealing to a guy like, let's say, Arjun Namala to lock into that, have his years of R bought out, extend the point where he can hit free agency to maybe 29, 30? Is that sort of risk worth it to these young kids that are being developed right now in the Toronto Blue Jays farm system? If a guy like Vladdy is locked in long-term, and I think it is far more appealing for some of these. I don't want to say it's a bargain because obviously there's still a lot of risk to the Jackson Merrill and the Christian Campbell and the Jackson Trio type of deal.
They become like a top 20, top 30 player consistently, then it is a great deal.
Then it's a great deal. And so some of these kids are probably more prepared to take that risk and let their RBers be bought out and maybe extend the time to when they can hit free agency. If it looks like you're contributing to a team, if it looks like you're contributing to a contender, to a winner, and I think that that's what locking up Vladimir Guerrero Jr. long-term will do for this organization. And whether they can come to terms or not, again, I got to see it before I get all excited. How long have you and I, like the three of us, been reporting on Vladdy signing long-term and the talking heads coming out with it's going to happen soon? Like the only thing
too long, man.
And that's another good point right there, Scott, is like, well, where is this report coming from? Is this new? Is this just a regurgitated, thing from weeks ago, right? Like, why is it that Jon Heyman is putting this out there right now? And what is it that he heard? Because he's done such a great job at keeping it as vague as possible. Not saying that like he's heard this from, a credible source or that, talks are heating up or anything. Just that the belief is it's going to get done eventually for about $500 million. So is that now? Is that in free agency? Like, when is that? And why is that? Like, what is the new development here that is making you believe or making you want to put this out there? So I agree that, like, for me, this is nice. I'm excited about it. Let me see pen on paper. Let me see signatures. Let me see the celebratory press conference. Give me all that shit, because we've heard too much of this from too many different people at this point for me to amp myself up and then, just get inevitably let down when a week from now, some other guy, maybe it's John Morosi being like, yeah, actually Vlad's going to free agency. Sorry, Blue Jays fans.
Yeah. It's a great point. I mean, it does beg the question as to the validity of the sources and the timing of this. And is this a leak that's intentional from one of the camps, or is this just clickbait? Right. And it could be either of those.
Could be a lot of those.
Could be a lot of those.
Based on how popular the story of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is, I wouldn't be shocked if he heard one thing like, hey, the Jays and Vladdy are still working towards the $500 million deal. Both sides are very engaged. Boom. I'm going to throw that out 10 times out of 10 if I heard that if I was Jon Heyman. 10, because of what's happening right. Look at us.
Yeah.
Guys
it's
like
going to get clicks. We can't help ourselves as Jays fans.
Of course. Yeah. And let's face it, everybody, even the haters out there that are like, oh, don't do that. Don't overpay. We don't want Vlad. We want Bo. Even the haters, there's a small secret part of them that would be excited about this contract regardless if it happened, because that jersey.
So.
Yeah, exactly. The jersey that you have in your closet right now that has Guerrero's last name on it, now it is relevant for the next 10 to 14 years. Now, I think a fun wrinkle into all of this is the fact that, and maybe this is why Jon Heyman so surgically decided to put this out when he did, but Vladdy's actually not playing that great to start off this season. One of the few guys, offensively speaking, that, isn't tearing the top off of the baseball. So, like the little cynic in me, or like the little devil in me, was like, ha, like,
you should have took the money. Every strikeout he got, I was like, buddy, you're probably thinking about that $500 million you turned down,
Well, exactly, right. It makes you think that it's like, oh, like he's not playing that good. Maybe he's reconsidering the $500 million offer. I think that's an overreaction. I think that's too soon. But it is an interesting wrinkle into all of this, because, maybe right now the numbers don't mean anything to the team or the offer or anything. But in a month from now, if Vladdy's still not doing so good, does that change the number? Does that change the approach in 2 months from now? Right? Like, I'm just saying it. Eventually it will start to matter.
Absolutely. And, for me personally, as a Jays fan, like we just talked about it, the money to me is irrelevant. I don't care if he's making $35 million per year and then having a bad month, because I know Vladdy, he will have a good month eventually. For me, it's like, I just want him to lock down the contract and have him not worry about getting and being good, being a good player. Because that's, maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I'm looking into it too much.
No, I think he's overthinking.
Maybe he is. But that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe I'm overthinking that he's overthinking it, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because when I watched him chase, he had some terrible at-bats. And again, it's small sample size. But when you're chasing balls and it looked like Vladdy trying to get hits. Like, we all know what Vladdy looks like when he's chasing sliders off the plates trying to get hits. that looked like a guy saying, I need to get hits to prove something right now, to do something, rather than I'm going to look for my pitch and I'm going to try and hit it. He looked like he was searching for that. So for me, by signing that contract, both, no more pressure. You got your money, dude. Go play baseball.
And I think that that's probably the way he should play it at this point, is take the $500 million. Like, honestly, you know, it's $500 million. You know how many billionaires there are in the world? 2,700. You're literally halfway to like a 0.00001% of the entire population, bro. Like, and you know what? The narrative is starting to shift here a little bit. And I think that it is a reason why we've seen Vladdy kind of taking some swings that he normally wouldn't take, right? Is that it is starting to shift to the point where the fan base is like, you were offered how much? Bro, are you greedy? What's the problem, right? And there is a little bit of that to be taken into account here. And maybe it is time for his camp to sit down with him and be like, you know what? That offer, $450 million over 12 years, like, maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe we can try and get him a little bit higher up, hit that 500 million, and let's call it a day here. Because, well, and on the open market, is he going to get more?
Like, exactly. And I'm personally, I don't necessarily think so, especially if Kyle Tucker, you know, is on the open market and then he, you know, does even better than him, right? Because then you're going to have a bigger fish than you on the free agency market. And that's obviously not what Guerrero wants. But, you know, I want to wrap this conversation up pretty soon because we've been on it for a while. But one final thought on this, and Adam and I were talking about this the other day, is, I mean, $500 to $600 million, like, what does that actually change in your lifestyle?
In Vladdy's life too.
Like, you know? Like,
no, it's all ego. Vladdy, right? It's all hubris at that point as to where you are in the pecking order of Major League Baseball contracts, right?
Exactly.
So, I mean,
even like thinking about like going into Vladdy's life, what actually changes? Because he's already coming from generational wealth, you know. And I'm not trying to shame him or anything right now. But if he goes sign 500 or 600, what's changing here? Nothing. He's probably living the best life he possibly could.
I genuinely think Scott is right that it really is. It has actually nothing to do about like the amount of you know, financial stuff that you're gonna have, and it's more like I'm gonna be higher up on the list, you know, for longer if I sign this contract over that.
It could be an ego thing.
I think it is. And this is where the deferrals of it all does come into play, because I really do believe Vladdy wants in the end, when you put it through that inflation equation, he wants to beat Shohei's contract. He wants to be the second highest paid player in baseball. And
wow. I mean, God, that's crazy right there. But, you know, now I'm thinking about it too, right? Even I've decided it's all about ego now, because I'm thinking back to Juan Soto's thing. Remember the reason why he went to the Mets instead of the Yankees? Because the Yankees wouldn't give him his fucking free
suite.
That obviously he could afford without even thinking. Like, that has nothing to do with it. It's just an ego thing.
It's an ego thing.
Yeah. Just
wow.
An ego thing.
I would have never thought that Vladdy would be this. Wow. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to be like,
I know, but it is and this is where maybe, and we will get off this topic. Just last kind of thought is that honestly, maybe it's starting to get to him that the narrative's changing and he's starting to be shown in a different light here, right? Because there was a large portion of the fan base that he could do no wrong.
Yes.
Right. Yes. And that is starting to shift. And so maybe his camp sitting down with him and being like, you know what, this isn't a terrible offer. And if you sign it, everyone's going to get back on board, and then they're going to stop worrying about this, and you're not going to be under the microscope, and you can just do what you do, which is hit bombs. So
well, Vladdy's camp, maybe they're out there seeing the media, and if Vladdy's camp, if you're watching this podcast right now,
get it done,
man. We're tired. I don't want to be calling Vladdy an egotistical maniac.
I
don't want to be doing that. I want to be calling him my daddy. I stopped calling him my daddy on the streets. I'm upset.
Very upset.
Let's move on, though. I think it's about time. So that wraps up the Vladdy stuff. You guys in the chat, let us know what you think about all this.
293 people in chat, by the way, guys. If you haven't already done so, hit that like and smash the subscribe button, guys. Can we get up to 69 likes on the stream? And also, if you like what you're hearing from Scott, more available on the Walkoff Podcast on YouTube. Let's move on.
Let's move on to talk about the actual Toronto Blue Jays. And isn't this an awesome sight to see? Even though it is just 7 games, everybody, the Blue Jays are sitting on top of the AL East. Isn't that awesome? 5-2 record, and it's looking good. I mean, when you look at the rest of the team, you know, offensively speaking, we're 4th in the league in batting average. The offense has been awesome. The pitching, not so much. I want to dive into and have a great conversation about this. We've kind of talked about this already on the show about the Blue Jays and how we think they're doing so good. I want to pick your brain, Scott, and let's start off there. Based on how well the Toronto Blue Jays have been doing, what are some standouts for you from your perspective that you've really enjoyed from the Toronto Blue Jays?
Number one of the biggest question marks I had about this organization, this team going into 2025 was the depth. And my goodness, that Wednesday game was a statement game for the depth of this Toronto Blue Jays. Easton Lucas showing up huge when they needed him the most. Tyler Heineman, my God, boys. In that live stream show you guys did at Amsterdam Brewing, I mean, we did that little mini pod live for everyone who was just there. And it was asked, and I kept making jokes about Tyler Heineman being my favorite, Tyler Heineman being the guy. And Tyler Heineman, I know it's only 2 games, but this is what we need out of our depth pieces, right? So the other really encouraging thing about the depth is that, you take a look at the OPS leaders so far for this Blue Jays team. Tyler Heineman is at the top of the list here. George Springer, Miles Straw, Andre Jimenez, and Will Wagner is who kind of wraps up that list there. Wags is the only one below 1,000 OPS right now with an 889. Now, that is very encouraging for me, considering that Anthony Santander and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has done shit all so far in this first week. Now, is it sustainable? No, but is it sustainable that Vladdy and Santander aren't going to do anything? Also, no. So we're in a good place, boys. Like, when our top guys aren't getting it done, the rest of the team is there to pick them up. Love to see it.
Well, and listen, I think that this is, again, very early sample size. Time will tell with all this stuff. But I remember when they brought in David Popkins, one of the biggest observations that both Adam and I made about the Minnesota Twins when he was there, and we brought this up to you previously, Scott, is that a lot of those bench guys, a lot of those depth guys were capable of delivering in a limited amount of at-bats. And that
staying hot.
Exactly. Staying hot, even though they are sitting on the bench some days. And that made it so that there really was never a day, never an inning, never anything that the opposing pitcher could fall asleep. Prior to the Wednesday game, both of us, we were doing groceries. We were talking about the lineup. We were like, oh, damn, dude. They're really just waving the white flag on this one. It looks like a AAA lineup out there.
It was Schneider, Heineman, Miles Straw. That was the bottom of the
like
order.
we're punting this one. That's okay. We'll be 4-3. No big deal. And then you have those boys come out and absolutely deliver. And I love how you said it's a statement game, because it shows that even when you don't have, your 100% A lineup in there, we can still compete. I think that David Popkins is a factor. I do think that the entire just energy around this team is different and a factor, and all of it so far is very reassuring.
So I read an article by David Singh on Sportsnet about David Popkins and what's going on with Andre Jimenez, and there was a quote that really stood out to me, and it was Jimenez talking to Singh, and he said, when it comes to David Popkins, he knows how to give you confidence as a hitter.
Right.
And I know that that's not deep. That's not like a thinking thing where they're like, oh man, they're really tying into something here. But confidence is a very fleeting aspect of this game. And when you 100%. Have it, you dominate. When you don't, you feel like you'll never have it again. And it does kind of lend itself a little bit to what was said about him last time he was with a team in 2023 with the Twins there, right? And the fact that he had a way of keeping bats hot, keeping bats that weren't getting regular swings game ready. And to hear Jimenez talk about it like this, and if you haven't read this article, everyone, honestly, Sportsnet, David Singh, it is a great article, and it really dives into Andre Jimenez and the way that he was thinking about things, and what basically he was playing tight, like Stephen Vogt, John Schneider actually wound up talking with Vogt at the winter meetings about Jimenez, and basically what was said. So this is from their chance encounter at the winter meetings. Jimenez has developed a tendency to play it safe, Vogt said. And that resulted in a recent approach that was geared towards shooting singles to the opposite field. It was almost like he was hitting with 2 strikes all year long.
Yeah.
Popkins zeroed in on that, was able to sit down with Jimenez and convince him, you know what? This is not where you do the most damage.
The
word
damage.
that Popkins has become known for. And I just finished up our podcast here, and my co-host Adam Max said something very true, where he's like, you kind of hold up 2 sheets and you're like, is it 1985 or is it 2025? Because let's do damage. No one cares if you strike out 3 more times a month.
Right.
If you're going to have 200 more on your OPS, right?
Yeah.
So
Right. No,
I love the new hitting strategy with this team. It took way too long for them to implement it, but it's here now, and so far it's working.
I love it, man. Like I have a video coming out tomorrow about George Springer, breaking down his first 7 games. And I was going through all the metrics because I love this. I look at slash lines, and they're all great, but I love like seeing where I can find the proof, in the pudding. And one thing I noticed from George Springer,
pudding proof, my favorite proof.
Oh, this is my favorite, actually. When I found this, I was like, dude, this shows me everything I need to know. When you think about George Springer in his prime, where does George Springer hit the ball the most in his prime when he was doing damage, when we all called him Springer Dinger? Where is he hitting the ball the most? Where's the ball going?
Over the fences?
Over the fence, which part of the field?
I can't remember. It was so long ago.
Yeah, which part of the field, Scott? Where's he pulling, or where's he hitting it? I just gave it away.
Left
field. He's pulling the ball.
The Crawford
left
boxes.
field, doing damage.
Yeah.
Right? Last 2 seasons under Don Mattingly, the pull side fly ball percentage was at a career all-time low. What does that mean? He's getting beat on fastballs, hitting the ball the other way, striking out. He's not getting ahead and doing damage.
I'm so glad it was the obvious answer. It's so funny because I thought you were trying to trick me there for a second.
No.
Like,
I felt like we were getting tricked.
No, where is he hitting the ball the most? Over the fucking left field wall. Okay.
Yeah.
Where is he hitting it the most now? He is in the top 15 in all of baseball and hitting fly balls to the pull side. That is in the deep, thick red percentile in all of baseball to start the year. So he is going back to what he does best, which is pulling the baseball, hitting it hard, and doing damage. Okay, now, is it George Springer? Of course, he's the one swinging the bat, doing the damage out there. But who's the guy giving him the confidence? It's David Popkins saying, dude, you're George Springer. Stop trying to hit the ball the other way and being late and being scared. Go see your pitch and hit the ball effing hard. So I agree with you, Scott. Confidence is what absolutely David Popkins provides to this team.
And now, speaking of hitting the ball hard and putting it over the fences and everything like that, if there is one area that we can potentially criticize a little bit here with the Toronto Blue Jays offense so far, is that it has been a limited amount of home runs, and the home runs that we have got are coming from a limited amount of individuals. 3 of them, in fact.
It doesn't help, Nick, that Tony Taters and Vladdy are not doing their job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, personally, I'm not too concerned about this because this feels like one of those things that eventually the other shoe is going to drop. Like, I mean, I still expect Vladdy to get over 25, and I still expect Santander to get over 25. This should be their floors, honestly.
Yeah.
They should be doing potentially more than that. But, quickly from you, Scott, any cause for concern here, or is this just one of those kind of getting unlucky to start things out, and maybe Andres Jimenez is just like that good?
If anything, honestly, guys, this is, in my opinion, a cause for optimism,
right?
Because you know what? Everyone on this team is going to go through their ebbs and flows, their lows and their highs. And I mean, that's baseball to a T, right? You're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you think you are. And there will be that happy medium. And I think that Anthony Santander and Vladdy are going to start hitting dingers here. And you need to remember, too, that they are the part of the lineup that is being focused on the most by pitching. And it's really encouraging to see some of these secondary bats, some of these lesser known guys coming up and contributing, right? It's been a committee effort, full committee, like it's not one guy that this team is relying on. And last year, let's face it, when they won, it was Vladdy. When they lost, it was just no one else was contributing.
Yep.
And
and look too, like, part of the reason basic, simple baseball 101 strategy from pitchers. You go and you focus, you throw all your best stuff against Santander and Vladdy back to back. Okay, I got Jimenez now. Let me just pump in a heater up and in. Nope, out of the yard. Okay, boom. Can't do that. Oh, it's George Springer. He struggles. Let me just pump this one. Nope, that one's going for extra bases. So, like, now there's gonna be the adjustment period where pitchers are now gonna go, oh crap, I actually have nowhere I can rest right now. And then it's a snowball effect. Now we're throwing more pitches. Now we're,
which also maybe translates into more fastballs for Tony Taters, right? All of a sudden, Santander is going to be seeing more stuff because you can't pitch around everyone, right?
No,
so it's just good news, really.
Yeah, and honestly, too, I mean, like, to wrap this one up, Bo Bichette should at least have a couple at this point on the board. The fact that he doesn't have a single bomb or one out of the park is honestly extremely unlucky because he is tearing the top.
Yeah, he's been hitting so well.
And he's got a couple that, were right there at the warning track. So I think they're coming. I'm also not concerned. I do think that it is one of those reasons for optimism because eventually they're going to come. And if Andres Jimenez and if Bo and if all these other guys are still hitting when the homers come, holy mother of God, boys, we are going to be in for a couple weeks.
It'll be beautiful. It will be beautiful.
Now, one more thing about just the past week before we move on to this upcoming week in a bit, which can be very, very interesting. Baseball, the pitching, just quick notes on that. We saw Easton Lucas pitch. And again, like we were doing groceries, we thought it was a throwaway game. And he actually came out and pitched very well.
He did.
For coming up. So what are your thoughts? What's your takeaway on that, Scott? Because I know you've been around AAA Buffalo. Yeah. You've gotten to be around those boys. Give me your thoughts on that.
So, number one, I really like that Easton Lucas did what he did. Obviously, all Jays fans do. But, I mean, he did not come across overmatched. He knew he had to throw strikes. He knew he had to hit his spots. He just was not intimidated, and that's what you need out of your depth starters. I think Bowden Francis really had a big game. There's all these question marks around him and where he fits into this rotation, and can he be as solid as he was last year? Obviously, he's pitching like a number one. So if we get a number three out of him, honestly, huge success for this organization. I mean, Bowden Francis was a little bit of a throw-in when we desperately needed a bullpen piece and got Trevor Richards for Rowdy Tellez back in 2021, and he's really kind of worked out for this team.
What a great trade in the end of the day,
Such a great trade.
What a great trade. Like, Trevor Richards carried that pen for a couple of seasons. He was a great depth guy, and then you get a breakout of Bowden Francis.
Oh, it really worked out for this team. Absolutely. Chris Bassett, by the way, I mean, it may have been the biggest start of the year to date that he stepped in.
Oh, yeah.
Like, had he lost that game, this could literally be a 3-4 team right now.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah,
like, momentum's a weird thing. Stuff's a weird, like, confidence and all that is weird, especially with how much pressure is on 2025. I don't think that this team, I mean, I think they're veteran enough. They wouldn't have had a huge skid, but you never know, right? Baseball's funny. And so Chris Bassett came up huge. And one last guy in these pitching ranks that no one is talking enough about and has been absolutely unreal is Jimmy freaking Garcia.
Yeah,
bro. Boys, this dude, number one, what a deal. 2 years, $15 million. This is a dude who has a whip right now this year of .25. He's not walking anyone. He's not giving up any hits. He has 5 strikeouts. This is in 4 innings. He has a 0 ERA. The guy has been lights out, and he's doing it quietly, and he's doing it in big moments. And this is the sort of poise and the sort of back end of the bullpen guy you need on a winner. Is this bullpen perfect? No. Is it scary once you start getting further down the depth chart? A little bit. But Jeff Hoffman with 3 saves and then Big Jimmy being right there with these kind of dominant performances bodes well.
Yeah.
Reliever of the year? Question
mark? Dude, like, seriously, it looks like this guy hasn't skipped a beat, and we desperately needed it. So thank you, Jimmy, for coming back. And you're right. Like, what if we're just about to see the prime of Jimmy Garcia? Because he's had an up and down career, all throughout his career. What if this is the prime? Well, we gotta hope he stays healthy.
Listen, walking into this season, we said we needed some big time bullpen breakouts and performances. A 0.25 whip, I think that will do.
It'll play. That'll play.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, gentlemen, let's talk about this upcoming week. Final kind of topic of conversation for us here, Scott, on the Blue Jays Today show. What do you think? We've got the New York Mets, okay, 3 games, and we're on the road, mind you. Then we've got 3 games with the Boston Red Sox, and then 4 games with the Boston Red Sox, and then we got 3 games with the Baltimore Orioles. Give me your quick thoughts. Do you think the Blue Jays are prepared for this road trip, and how much is this road trip going to mean to the identity of this ball club when it's all said and done after this road trip?
I mean, you look at this schedule, and it is without a doubt, if there's ever been a place to use the term meat grinder, and boys, I'm always looking for a place to use the term meat grinder, but finally it is applicable here. April is a meat grinder. You look up and down this month, and it is filled with very, very good teams. And yes, this road trip is going to set the tone for the rest of the month. And they really need to come out of this 5-5 minimum.
Yep, I agree. You gotta take advantage of a not so good start from the Boston Red Sox. Granted, they did win a couple games recently. You gotta take advantage of that, and you gotta do what the Orioles did to us, go in and split that series. And then you got to find a win between either the Mets or the Orioles. And maybe it's the Mets. I don't know. Home opener jitters. You never know. Maybe, because they haven't played their best ball lately.
Yeah.
Maybe you got to get a win out of there. Orioles, I don't feel so confident because they do play pretty good baseball. And we just scratched out a series split. But you're right. If we go 5-5 and we'd end up, 10-8? Is that what? No, 10-7.
Yeah.
10-7.
Coming back to home?
Yeah, going back to home, facing a 0-7 right now, Atlanta Braves,
which is wild,
which is crazy,
crazy. And then the Seattle Mariners. Yeah, that's gonna put me and all of us in a great spot. And I think after that chunk of sample size, you could start to find the identity of this team a lot better than right now.
100%, man. And I mean, going 5-5, like I always look at it this way: when you're on the road, playoff teams go 500.
Yep.
And then when you're at home, you win, 60 to 70% of your games. That's the formula. That's what playoff teams do. We have done the first part of that, which is win at home.
Yep.
We had a great little homestand right there. Now, mitigate your losses, go 5-5 on the road, deal with these teams in their opposing ballparks, and then come back home and start picking up some dubs against Atlanta and Seattle, man. I want to look at this first Mets game right here. We're actually going to be live for it, everybody, at 3 in the afternoon. Scott, if you want to jump in on the call for an inning or so, please feel free, man. Should be a good one because you got Kevin Gausman on the bump up against McGill. McGill had a pretty nice start there for the New York Mets. Kevin Gausman, though, also a really nice has he gone twice at this point or just once?
I think this is his second
outing.
He only got 4 strikeouts. So that would
he got pushed. He was supposed to play on Wednesday.
That's why that makes. I was like, I swear, like he should have gone twice at this point. But no, that is the that's the reason right there. But two good pitchers after 2 good fart starts. Where are you guys at with this game? Blue Jays or Mets?
Start with you, Scott. Go for it.
I think the Blue Jays are going to continue to ride this hot streak. And I think that we are going to hit a wall here eventually in this road trip, but I don't think it's game 1 here against the Mets. I mean, we watched the home opener here in Toronto, and there is so much excitement. This is the first time that Juan Soto is going to be in front of a hometown crowd in Citi Field. I think a letdown for New York is in the books. And it's the Jays are fielding their A lineup. So
they are.
I'm going Gauze is going to continue to do what Gauze does and started with in his first game of the season, and I think that they're going to put up a W.
I like that lineup a lot, boys. I mean, that's a
sexy lineup.
As good as we could get. Yeah, I can't put any holes in that at all. I mean, New York is really good, but Kevin Gausman,
like
awesome. Coming off of the one thing I hope is that you get that off day and like you lose a little bit of steam or something like that, and I don't want that for the Jays. I too, though, I mean, I feel like we're gonna all say it. I too am gonna say that Blue Jays are gonna win this one. I think it's gonna be a little bit too close for comfort, just because it is good competition, but I can't bet against that lineup
No.
right now.
Like,
with what
my
they're
God,
doing.
look at the parody of this lineup. Like, look at how balanced it is. Like,
I
we haven't
know,
seen
right?
like
Dude.
we've gone through what, like literally 2 decades of baseball where the only handedness in a lineup is right.
Yep.
And
Yep. Well, here's the thing, and again, I'm going to break this down tomorrow on my George Springer video. But George Springer, this is going to sound like an exaggeration, but hear me out. He's the key to unlocking this lineup. Here's why. Because you got the top 5 guys. You know what you're going to get from them. Then you have the bottom young guys. He's the bridge. He's what puts it all together. Can he drive in the top guys, or can he pass the baton with a walk to the guys below him? And so far, he's been doing both. So this is why it feels complete. Because if he was a dead spot, we'd be like, he puts it all together. He lengthens this thing. So I like it too. Give me Jay's win, and then we'll be 6-2, and we'll be feeling pretty good about ourselves.
won't we? Like, switch hitter Anthony Santander, right? Lefty Andre Jimenez, lefty Will Wagner, lefty Alan Rodin. And remember when our left-handed bat was Kevin Biggio? Like, and this isn't Kevin slander. This is just like, it goes a long way when you have a competent left-handed bat in your lineup. And this lineup is so much deeper because of it. I love it.
I absolutely love it. I see Nick looking up Kevin Biggio. Right
I want to see what
What's he done so far?
He is currently let me is this
home?
is this split? Okay, wait a second. He's only hold up, boys. Hold up. You guys keep talking. I'll find this momentarily.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I know Kevin did have a big hit with the Royals just the other day, but I can't wait for you to have these stats.
So he's had 12 at bats.
Okay.
He has 12 at bats, 3 hits though. So he's batting 250. 2 RBIs, so like clutch and timely hits here for Kevin. The OPS is 558, so maybe don't look at that.
Yeah,
that category right there.
The singles are we just smacking? What are we doing?
Yeah, I think he's legitimately hit 3 singles so far.
And a double?
Nope, just 3 singles.
Okay.
3 singles and 2 RBIs and a walk.
But he can play anywhere, guys.
He can play anywhere,
and he's a lefty.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, Scott, we're gonna let you go right now because I know you've been on it for a minute. We appreciate. Thank you so much for coming on, man. We love your insight. We love talking to you. And also, before you go,
we got 290 people here who are anxiously waiting with bated breath to know about the upcoming event that you're going to be running on April 17th, I believe.
Thursday, April 17th. So it's the off day between the Braves series and the Mariners series. And us baseball nerds, we know how much a day off is just really rough waters for us. So Baseball Town is going to alleviate that for everyone. And if you haven't been to Baseball Town, honestly, it is an event that you have to experience. It is so much fun. It's going to be basically comedy off the top. Okay, some baseball-related stand-up. Then we're going to do Nick versus Adam in a trivia off, Blue Jays trivia off, where we're going to keep score and crown a winner here. The Mr. Know-It-All of Blue Jays today will be crowned.
Yeah, I better. How far? This is the first time we're hearing this too, folks.
Yeah, I'm springing it on you. I'm springing it on you. Then we're going to do a roast battle between the Seattle Mariners. We have from the Walkoff Mariners coming out to represent the Seattle Mariners, going to be Jordy Bott, very funny comedian. Then we're going to have representing the Toronto Blue Jays from right here in Toronto, well-known Toronto comic Thomas Jones. Then, as if that's not enough, we have our baseball panel with Blake Murphy and Julia Cruz from Blue Jays Talk Plus on Sportsnet. We have Mitch Bannon, who's currently writing with Blue Jays Nation. There you go. Yeah, there you go. And then on top of that, question period for everyone in the crowd afterwards to ask questions. And then we just literally sit around and drink beer the rest of the night at comedy bars. So this is best $20 you can spend. If you just want to nerd out on baseball for a night, there's something for everyone. You don't need to be a hardcore to enjoy this show. And please come check it out, everybody. Comedybar.ca. The name of the show is Baseball Town. If you're looking for the link, come on over to the Walkoff. I've got it posted everywhere. Again, boys, so love chatting baseball with you. Thanks for making time for me. And I look forward to the next time.
Absolutely, Scott. Well, we appreciate you, and we can't wait for Baseball Town. Honestly, one of the best in-person experiences I've had in baseball in a long time. It's great to meet everybody and see the community come together, and we can't wait to have another great time, everybody.
And we have somebody in the chat asking right now, could you guys put this night on YouTube? Which could be a fun idea right there.
Yes.
Scott. That would be that'd be pretty sweet for those that can't make it there in person,
So that is something that I am going to do. For if you're wondering what Baseball Town is, go over to the Walkoff YouTube site, and Baseball Town Dunedin, which was where I went down to Dunedin, Florida, and put on a show there and had Alan Roden and some of the boys on, Ben Nicholson Smith, Keegan Matheson. Keegan Matheson, by the way, is coming by Baseball Town on the 17th just to hang out and drink beer.
That's amazing.
If you want to meet some of the industry and just be around a bunch of other Blue Jays fans, it's a great place to be.
Yeah, Max saying Comedy Bar on Danforth. Is it Comedy Bar on Danforth?
Comedy Bar on Bloor. On Bloor, everybody. Bloor. Yes, these boys have made that mistake. Caitlin McGrath of The Athletic made the mistake. So I'm very much concentrating on making sure everyone knows the right Comedy Bar. It is Bloor.
Capital letters Bloor in every single post.
That's right.
Awesome,
it should
Scott.
be one hell of a night, dude. Yeah. Thank you so much. We already got people in here saying that they will subscribe. So hopefully we get some more people out for one hell of an event. Dude, you're the best. Here is a Toronto Blue Jays W in the works today, or at least we're hoping for one.
Go Jays.
Go Jays, go. Awesome, guys. Thank you to Scott. Shout out to Scott again. Check out the Walkoff Podcast on YouTube and audio platforms. We were just talking about game 1 today. You guys were wondering. I saw a couple people in the chat. We are going to be going live game 1 at 3:00. So we'll see y'all there. It's a home opener, so there might be a buffer period of time when we're watching the opening ceremonies. So we'll be live for that as well. But before we move on, let's give our picks for game 1 and take a look at the lines for that game 1 that we're watching today.
Whoa, time for a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video. Head your picks and knock it out of the park with Betway. Scan the QR code down below to join the action. Only available in Ontario. Must be 19 years of older to participate. Please play responsibly. Now, everyone, back to the content. Shout out to Betway, everybody, for being absolutely phenomenal. Here are the lines. I'm taking Blue Jays.
I'm taking the Blue Jays, and as you can see, we're the underdogs here. So if you feel very confident, go scan the QR code right there and download the app.
I get it. They're at home, but
I get it.
We're 5-2, baby.
Yeah, and also Tyler McGill, he's a 4 ERA guy.
He had a good first start. That's all
he had.
5 innings, whatever. The depth, he hasn't seen the Blue Jays.
That's the thing. The depth of these Mets are going to get tested in that pitching staff. So let's move on to game number 2. And my goodness, this is another pretty fun matchup, and fun because the Blue Jays, I believe, are heavily favorited right here, and they should be on Betway. You got Chris Bassett up against Griffin Canning. He lost his first time around. If you guys remember, Griffin Canning was on the Angels, and he wasn't very good.
He's pretty trash, eh?
He had a 5.19 ERA last year, and when they got, and this guy wasn't even supposed to be in the rotation, and they had injuries to Minaya and Montaz. So he's up against Chris Bassett, who's pitched in Queens before, mind you. I think he's going to come out. He's going to be surgical. I think they're going to win this one too, guys. I'm not even going to lie.
Back to back. Okay, here's
they're
the one
going to
thing.
win 6 in a row right
Here's the one thing that we are kind of overlooking is that you are talking about a Soto-filled, Alonso-filled, Frankie Lindor, Brandon Nimmo-filled, Vientos-filled type of line, Jesse Winker-filled line.
Bassett will take care of these boys. He's familiar with some of these guys, so I think he will take care of them. And Griffin Canning, dude, it's gonna be a slugfest. I'm taking the over on the runs, but I think he's gonna take care.
I'm personally not that crazy. I do think that they drop this one. Game 2, Bassett, Canning, that lineup of the New York Mets. You got to give it a little bit of credit. Here's the thing. I'm going to give them credit on game 3 right here, because the game 3 one is going to be a little bit tougher of a matchup, and it's going to test Bowden Francis right here, who is going to go up against David Peterson. Now, he's unlocked something. David Peterson's actually a dude. He won his first game out, got 9 Ks, 3 ERA. Up against Bowden Francis, I love me some Bowden. Maybe I'm still underrating him and his ability to go up against in the big moments, up against some big opponents. Granted, he did a carry no into the 9th inning against the Mets last year. I think they inevitably lost that game because he gave a couple homers. It was a tight game. But still, I think we have a chance to win this series. Well, we got to get the Mets while they're down. It's home opener. Maybe they got some jitters. I like the Griffin Canning matchup. This one, I think I like theirs a bit better.
I think we win this series, folks. I think we're on a roll right now. We win 2 of 3. This is where we get that series win that I was talking about with Scott earlier. Because I don't know, against the Baltimore Orioles, I'm not feeling so confident. We split against Boston. This is where we go 500 on the road. We take the win right here.
I don't feel that way. I think that they are going to lose this series. Two games to the Mets, 1 to the Toronto Blue Jays. I still believe, though, that they're going to go 5-5 on the road, or I hope that they're capable of doing so. And I'm kind of building my prediction based off of that. But I think that there's going to be a minor little hiccup here, bump in the road up against the Mets, and then a bounce back against the Red Sox and the Orioles following that.
Okay, guys, you let us know in the chat down below. Where are you in terms of this series? What do you think they're going to do? How many games do you think they're going to win? Who's going to be the big breakout performance? Real quick, guys, before we go, we got a couple of mailbag questions. We haven't asked these in a while, but I think on Fridays are a good time to do them because on the Monday Blue Jays Today show, we got a lot to cover. So if you have any questions, submit them right now because I'll pull them up. Like we got like 1 or 2 questions here. If you have a question, a burning question, go down to the description down below, click the link to the Google form and send in your question. The first question right here is coming from Josh. Let me pull it up for y'all. Josh is asking if I want to go. Yep, here we go. Josh is asking, hey guys, should the Blue Jays sign Trevor Bauer to a league minimum deal? I always love when these questions come in because they're always my favorite topic of conversation. Which would be the 6th man in the rotation instead of having Yoriel Rodriguez when Scherzer is injured. Now, granted, Easton Lucas came up. This came up, I think this question was asked a little bit before Easton Lucas. Should the Blue Jays sign Trevor Bauer?
Dude, okay, real question here. How old does Trevor Bauer need to get before these questions stop coming?
Yeah, because how old is he right now? 34?
Think so. 34,
Yeah, like
35, something like that.
Yeah, like this guy.
Like at what point, like are we still going to be hearing about Trevor Bauer when he's 38?
Yeah, probably.
39,
probably.
And he hasn't pitched
Like,
in the league in almost a decade.
Yeah, guys, I'll still sign for a league minimum.
Yeah, like at some point, we got to leave this stuff behind. Should the Blue Jays sign Trevor Bauer? Maybe, not sure.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter though, because they're never going to. Everybody, it is done. It is dusted. Like the window of opportunity for Bauer to come back into this league, it is long past at this point. Granted, you had like Donald Trump, I think, come out a little while ago saying like he's got to be reinstated.
He's got to be reinstated. Yeah, maybe he enforces.
Or was it a counselor?
No, it wasn't Donald Trump. It was like a Senate.
Yes,
from the Senate.
I made a video on this separately, but like this was something to do with somebody in the government was saying they got to reinstate Bauer. That hasn't moved the needle.
Right.
I don't think the needle's getting moved anytime soon.
And I think we all got to realize this. Like, he's just blacklisted.
It's
guys.
just done.
He like literally Rob Manfred blacklisted him.
Yeah.
So we actually, even if we wanted to, we couldn't.
Yeah.
Like, we just can't.
It's just never going to. Yeah. I mean, like,
and
Beacock says it perfectly right here. The MLB will never let it happen.
It will never let it happen.
It's at this point, it is done. It is dusted. Trevor Bauer never come back to the league. So, yeah, 6-man or not, does not matter. We get another question here from Miles and Bella. Shout out to Miles and Bella right there saying, what do you think Springer's average will be this season? Well, I'll tell you what, 6 days ago, I would have said something vastly different.
Yeah, I would have.
Than I might say right now. That just goes to show, we come on this show, we're like, oh, it's a small sample size. Let's not overreact.
And then we
proceed to overreact pretty immensely right now. So I think that Springer is certainly looking a lot better. I do believe, though, that age is going to, I just don't think that, I don't think he's this good or anything like that. I will say that George Springer finishes everything off batting kind of right around the 240, 250 mark. Yeah. Something like that.
You know what? I'll give David Popkins some credit. I'll give what George has done and proved in the early sample size a little bit of credit, like kind of proving us wrong a little bit. I'll say like solid 250. And you know what? If he hit 250, dude,
low 700 OPS. We're actually fine.
We're fine. Yeah, imagine he hit 250 with a 750 OPS and knocked in 22 bombs.
Dude, that's asking. I wasn't even going that far, but that's like we're chilling.
Like if he's back to George Springer, I'm pulling baseballs. I'll take my walks. Yeah, I'll strike out a bit, but I'm still doing damage. That's more than I could ask for from a 35-year-old? 35-year-old.
Yeah.
And yes, he's getting paid $25 million, but it's the second last year. And if he was batting 750 with 750 OPS and a 250 batting average,
win.
That's a major win, dude. So Please, let's do it, George Springer. Yeah, that's our prediction. But guys, that's the Blue Jays Today show, everybody. We're going to be live again, like we mentioned, in about, 2 hours? We're going to be live on this channel watching the Blue Jays take on those Mets. If you guys haven't done so already, hit that like button. Subscribe to Blue Jays Today. Let us...
Everybody, and as always,
Go Jays, go!